Hello, welcome to Spirituality Simplified. Today we are talking about angels. I'm so excited. This is a great topic. I'm so close to angels. They're amazing, beautiful beings. Everybody needs to connect with their angels. And, we talked about spirit guides last episode, but I wanted to talk about angels this week because they are essentially a type of spirit guide. But they're so unique and have their own characteristics, and I just love them. So I just wanted to devote an entire episode to just angels. I think they deserve their own, and they would agree. So, what I'd like to talk about today is, we'll talk about what are angels, a little bit about the history. We can talk about why do you want to connect with your angels? How do they differ from spirit guides that we talked about last week? And how do you communicate with your angels? So this is going to be a great episode. I hope that this is informative and fun for you, and I hope it gets you excited about contacting your angels. So let's just dive right in. Okay, so let's talk about what are angels. If you've been living on this planet, like pretty much since you were 5 or even before 5, little kids hear about angels too. You have heard of angels at some point in your life. They're often depicted in artwork. They're mentioned in the Bible. There's so many different references of angels. I'm sure that if you're listening to this, you have some information about angels at some point. Now, I wanted to look up the definition because I was just curious. So, according to Wikipedia, angels are supernatural beings in various religions. Abrahamic religions often depict them as benevolent, celestial intermediaries between God or heaven and humanity. So that pretty much sums it up. Angels are messengers and helpers from God or source or whichever higher power you believe in. So they are here to help us and to live our most, authentic and joyful and beautiful lives that we're meant to live here on this earth. And we talked about the last episode. It's a little difficult living here. Earth is not easy, as we all know. But we're not alone. That's what's so great. We have these supernatural beings who can help us and swoop in when we need some extra help and that boost. So they are really great beings that you want to bring into your life for sure. So with angels, I mentioned before that they are mentioned in the Bible. That's where probably most people have heard of them. If you've ever, been a part of an organized religion, you probably heard of angels. Angels they're often depicted as these flying beings with wings, essentially. So they could be male or female. These beings could be older, wiser, maybe they look like that. Maybe they look like little young cherubs, which are like those little chubby babies that are really cute with wings, and they have like little rosy cheeks. They're pretty cute. I think there's a pretty famous painting with the little cherubs that you see a lot. So, they can be seen in many different ways, interpreted in many different ways. But they are, often discussed in different religious texts, including the Bible. So they're considered to be these messengers from God, and they're sent from God, according to the Bible, to guide and protect and to fulfill God's work here on earth. So now many people more on the, it's interesting with angels. So they're seen in more the religious texts and the different religions, but even if you're just spiritual and you don't ascribe to any religion and you're practicing more of more new age kind of spiritual practices, which is kind of like me, some people view angels a little bit differently. So it's very similar, but So that if you do research on angels, there's all sorts of information that some of it's going to come from a religious standpoint, some of it's going to come from more that, woo woo, like modern new age kind of standpoint. So again, take what resonates with you, discard the rest. But it's interesting because, angels, they're so important and they're so much a part of people's lives that a lot of psychics or intuitives, they specifically work with angels to provide the guidance and messages for their clients. So that is their specific way to deliver and channel spiritual guidance is through angels. So they feel that specific connection with them. There's hundreds of angel oracle card decks. I actually have one right here. I was going to show you, and I'll describe it for all you listeners out there. But this is the daily guidance from your Angels Oracle card deck by Doreen Virtue. This is just one example. There are so many different Angel Oracle card decks that you can use to communicate with your angels. There's also, a specific crystal that's even designated to angels. It's called the Angel Aura Quartz. And I'm holding it up, and for people who are just listening, it is this beautiful pink, iridescent, so much fun. Like, it just looks like cotton candy to me. Of course, this would be the crystal for angels. I mean, it just looks like an angel. It's beautiful. It's mesmerizing. So there's even that, Angel Aura Quartz that helps you connect with your angels. And, there's even a specific form of Reiki called angelic Reiki. So this is just a couple of different examples of how people channel and work with angels from a spiritual guidance perspective. There are so many different other channels out there, but, really they're energies that you really want and need in your life. And just like spirit guides we talked about last week, they're here for you. They want to help you. That is their job. That is why they're here. They have been sent. So if you are looking for that extra help, might as well just channel your angels. So I have a little fun fact about angels, which was kind of interesting to me. So each of the three Abrahamic religions, which is Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, they all acknowledge the existence of angels. So, not all religions can agree on everything, right? There's lots of different perspectives and views and all of that, but most religions across the world and all of time believe in some kind of angel being. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. So that's a little fun fact for you. So let's talk about the different types of angels. Interestingly enough, there's different types, just like there's different types of spirit guides, there's different types of angels. So again, I just want to mention that before I go into this, if you do your own research, there's so much information out there, and everybody kind of has their own view or opinion, which is a good thing because we're all getting different information. So, I have learned from my courses and my own research throughout the years, but I also, before going into this article or this episode for the podcast, I wanted to make sure I checked in with my guides to see, and my angels, of course. You tell me, right, what the scoop is with angels and spirit guides. So this, again, I'm just going to say a little disclaimer. This is the information that came from my guides. It could be different from what you've received. It could be different from what you read or hear from other people. We all get different information from spirit. So this is just simplifying it, kind of breaking it down into easy steps and easy information for you to digest. And this is what my guides shared with me. So the different types they discussed were, of course, guardian angels. You've probably heard of those. You probably have heard some of those miracle stories of, people that lift a car up to save their child, or, some kind of crazy situation where they just become really strong, or, they just somehow they know how to perform some procedure and they've never done it before. Like, these are all great examples of your angels coming in and helping you. And those are your guardian angels. So your guardian angels are with you throughout your entire life. So they are here specifically to help keep you out of trouble. I always feel like I've had lots of guardian angels with me throughout my whole life because I've been in some interesting situations. And I'm still here today. So I always say I've had really great guardian angels that have been watching over me. But you have one or several as well that are assigned to you for your entire lifetime to keep you on your path and keep you safe and out of harm's way. Now, there's also archangels. So when I asked my guides to describe archangels, they essentially said that they're the angels that are closest to source. So we'll talk about this in a minute, but there's different levels or hierarchies of angels and angelic realms, dimensions, so to speak. And so there's different levels that, there's one that's the closest to source, and that would be the archangels in that realm. Now, the archangels are not assigned to any specific individual on Earth or any other planet. Rather, they have their own unique specialty that they are here. They're very powerful beings. So you do have to specifically call upon them and ask for their help. And it was interesting, as I was preparing for this episode and writing the blog about it, I realized I was writing so much information just about archangels. And I was like, you know what? They need their own episode too, because they are really special and they have really cool, unique gifts that they are here to help us with. And so I'm actually going to be dedicating a whole episode just on the archangels, which will be next week. So stay tuned for that. But just at this point, just know that they are the angels that are the closest to source. These are most powerful angels out there. Now, we also have specialty angels. So these angels have special jobs. They have special powers that they're here to do. So they're maybe angels that protect you. There may be a healing angel. They might just be providing you with some love. They might be providing you with guidance. They have angels who are specifically assigned to watch over newborn babies. There's angels who are specifically assigned to watch the unborn souls. So there's, some say there's like like an area where souls are kind of hanging out before they, choose a human to incarnate into. And so there's angels that kind of watch over that group of souls. There's also angels who greet you and once you pass away, once you cross over into the heavens. And there's angels who are there that will greet you and help you do that. There's also angels who are assigned to you to help you reincarnate. So this is an interesting topic that if you're interested, I definitely recommend some further research. But when we pass on, we enter the kind of the in-between life stage, and that's where you may have heard of the life review. You meet with your guides and your angels, and you kind of go over, okay, what happened in this lifetime? What was good, what was not so good? What do you want to learn in your next lifetime? That kind of thing. So you have angels specifically helping you through that process. And they're going to help you reassimilate kind of back into the ethereal realm is a soul, not in a physical body. So it takes some adjustment, and they're going to help you choose your next lifetime. So it's amazing. And if this is interesting to you, the different lifetimes, reincarnation, there's a book that I highly recommend. This actually was one of the first books that I read that really sparked my spiritual awakening and journey. And I'm holding it up here. It's called The Journey of Souls. It's by Dr. Michael Newton. And I think I've mentioned this maybe before in different videos, but this is a really cool book. Dr. Newton, he interviewed and hypnotized like thousands of people to explore this, in between life stage and reincarnation. And it's just fascinating. And the stories are all, they're different, but they're all really similar at the same time. So it's a really, really interesting book if you're interested in, what happens after we die. So those are really kind of the main buckets that my guides had shared with me about the different types of angels. Now, I mentioned before there's different hierarchies, and I've heard this before, but I wanted to check with my guides and see what they said, just to see if that was true according to them. And I did get confirmation that there are different levels and different hierarchies of angels. So I asked them, like, what's the order of the angels? And so starting with number 1, which is the closest to source, the highest vibrational, infinite consciousness beings of light that there are, of course, are the archangels that we talked about. And then below that are the specialty angels. Below that are the angels that greet you when your soul leaves your body. And the next level would be the angels that are assigned to you every time you reincarnate. And then the last level are your guardian angels. So it's kind of interesting to hear about that. But again, they each have their own specialty, their own job, their own purpose, their own role here to help us. And they're not any less of angels. They have different purposes, so they live in different realms. Okay, take a little sip of my tea. This is good stuff. All right. So the question you're probably wondering is, how do you communicate with your angels? So, like spirit guides that we talked about, angels do not interfere with your life because we have free will. So they cannot force you to do anything. However, they're always with you, and they're kind of giving you little tips and guidance and nudges, whether you know it or not, and whether you take it or not. Again, it's your choice. It's your free will to decide if you want to take that guidance or follow that inspiration. But again, you do need to ask for their guidance specifically. But again, they do try to communicate with you in different ways. So for example, we talked about this with the spirit guide episode, you might start seeing numbers over and over again. So you might just be out and about and you keep noticing like the number 5, for example. And this is a great way that they try to communicate with you. And sometimes they even call them angel numbers, and they have specific meaning. So according to numerology, which I love and really believe in, each number has its own specific vibration unique to the universe. And so it has its own meaning. And so let's say, for example, you do keep seeing the number 5. Well, 5, according to numerology, is all about freedom and adventure and travel and inspiration and change and flexibility and all that fun stuff. So if you're seeing the number 5, that could be your angels trying to communicate to you, hey, you need to start bringing some more of that freedom and that inspiration into your life, because that's going to enhance your life. It's going to give you the life that you want to live, and it's going to keep you on your divine path and purpose. So that's one way And again, another, if you're seeing the clock, 11:11, 4:44, those all have really specific meanings. You can research those. It's kind of interesting. I like to, when I first got into numerology, I started looking at that. It's kind of fascinating. So that's one way. We talked about oracle cards before, and these are a great way, especially if you're just starting to explore your intuition and your spiritual side. You want to connect with your angels. Cards are so much fun. And again, there's like thousands of different oracle card decks, and they each have a different theme. So we saw the angel one before. I have one for career cards. I have one specifically channeled by the goddess Kuan Yin. I have a Reiki deck. So there's all sorts of things. So whatever you resonate to is what's calling you. But when you shuffle the cards, you're asking a question. So you're asking your angels specifically, or your true self, your higher power. You might be asking questions such as, what do I need to know today? Or, what is this career that I'm considering, the most optimal? Is it aligned with my path? And so you shuffle and you pick a card, and whatever that card is has a message for you that's related to whatever question you ask. So that is a great way to communicate specifically and say, hey, angels that are with me, I need to know I need some help with this. So, and plus they're just fun to play with. Now, and also they're really beautiful. So certain decks out there, the artwork is incredible. So I highly recommend just going to any kind of metaphysical bookstore. Right now you can go online and, Amazon. There's all sorts of places that you can look for oracle card decks. Okay, now of course too, you can always communicate with your angels through meditation. So just like spirit guides, finding a quiet place, taking some deep breaths, really finding your heart and center, and asking your angels for their guidance. Or maybe you're just feeling down, you need some extra love that day. Whatever you need, you can go through meditation to connect with your angels. And, again, they're always with you, and they're so willing and ready to help you. So if you just give them that go ahead, they will make your life so much easier. Okay, so a question I get to is, how do you know that you've connected with an angel? There's a lot of different signs that they give you. So, sometimes you can feel their presence in your physical body. You might get tingles, the chills. I actually get tingles in like the top of my head on the left side when I'm connecting with spirit. It's really interesting. I also tend to feel a tightness in my chest when spirit's around. Again, this takes some time to kind of start noticing and getting used to. And it's so different for every single person, but it's really interesting. You may just get a sense or an inner knowing that your angels are with you and that you're being protected. This is kind of interesting. You may suddenly smell something that reminds you of a person or a place or thing, a particular time in your life. So that could be your angels. You may suddenly have a sudden burst of inspiration or an idea, or something might just pop in your head. I always feel like that pop is really like that sudden inspiration. That's your intuition. That's your angels, your spirit guides. That's all the spiritual side helping you. You may find yourself, doing things or saying things that you've never done before, but you just know how to do it. That's the beauty and miracle of angels working with you. It's really cool. You may have, a sudden urge to check in with somebody. You may have a sudden urge to make a doctor's appointment. So these could all just be your angels kind of nudging you and guiding you and letting you know, hey, we're here. here's a little bit of guidance, here's some inspiration, here's some help with whatever you need. But again, they're just here to, help you live your best life possible. So they're so great to communicate with and work with. And, again, last week we talked in the Spirit Guide episode about ask them to send you a sign. That's so much fun. And they are more than willing. Ask your angels, send me a sign. I want to know, you're here. I want to know you're with me. Think of some kind of weird creative thing. I talked about the purple frog that I asked about last time. So something kind of strange like that. And just wait a few days, could take a couple days, but ask for that sign. That would be really fun. And if you go through this, please share. I would love to hear these experiences. They're so much fun to hear. Okay. Again, this is a lot of information, but I just want to remind you, I did write a blog, of course. It's called All About Angels, and it's on my website at soulhealingwithallie.com. So all of this will be in there. If you didn't catch it, you're listening, you're driving, whatever. So all of this just will be in my blog, just FYI. Okay, so again, I've mentioned a lot about, the last episode was on spirit guides, and now we're talking about angels. So you may be wondering, what's the difference between them? They're really similar. And I mentioned in the beginning that angels are essentially a type of spirit guide. So we talked about the different types of spirit guides. It could be, a deceased loved one. It could be an ancestor. It could be an animal, or it could be an angel, right? So it's just like, it's a type of spirit guide to connect with. And, one of the biggest differences that I would say is that angels have never lived on Earth they've never been in any kind of human or being type of form. They are purely beings of light. But spirit guides can live as humans or other beings. So for example, if you think about your past or deceased loved ones, your ancestors, they had a life here, but they may have ascended and evolved and become so enlightened that they could choose to become a guide for other people. So it's really cool. But again, the angels, they do not reincarnate. They don't live in, human form. So that's probably the biggest difference, I would have to say. Now, another one too that my guide shared with me specifically was that angels, like guardian angels, they can be with you throughout your entire lifetime. However, the angels, they tend to come in at different stages in your life. So my guide shared with me that you might be assigned an angel from your 0 to 10 years of your life, and then from 10 to 20 you might have another angel that's assigned to you, and so forth. It just kind of goes through your different stages in your life, whereas it doesn't seem that the spirit guides really are in kind of that stage. There's guides that are with you from the beginning of time, and there's some that come in and out of your life. So there's so much crossover, and it gets a little confusing, but that's just what my guides personally shared with me, which I thought was kind of interesting. But really, essentially, all angels, spirit guides, they're providing protection and guidance and love and support whenever it's needed, whenever it's asked for. They're always with you. They're working behind the scenes. They're little helpers. And, again, they're not going to interfere with your life unless you ask, but they're always with you. They do try to communicate with you, and they really do want to help. So, another thing too is kind of interesting. My guide shared with me that, angels, essentially a great way to think about it is they support you in different ways that make you stronger and better and more fulfilled. So, they might be giving you strength to carry out certain situations, or get you through a difficult event or situation. They're also here to kind of carry you when you're down and to support you and give you that extra love and comfort and care when you need it most. Because we all have times in our life where we're really struggling and we're down and it's hard to think about getting up the next day. This is a great time to really reach out to your angelic support, because that's what they're here for, and they will give you support that you never imagined possible. It's amazing. Okay, so yeah, again, angels are very similar to spirit guides with just a couple differences. Um, so depending on, it's kind of interesting. You might be thinking, like, when do I call upon my angels versus a spirit guide? So it's really kind of depending on how you're feeling, right? So maybe one day you want to connect with a guide. Maybe you're feeling like you miss your deceased loved one. Maybe that's who you need to connect with that day, just to kind of feel their presence and their love again. Um, Maybe you are feeling called to call upon the spirit of an eagle or a bear or some other kind of animal. You're really wanting to channel their energy and their influence, and they can help you. Animals are guides as well. Um, Maybe you want to connect with a deceased grandmother that you were really close with. Or maybe you need some guidance from your spirit guide on a career decision. Maybe you're just wanting a little more love and nurturing and support. So you call on your angels for that. So it's really just whatever you feel called to do is what you need to do. And there's no right or wrong way. You can just say, I want to connect with all of my guides and angels. That's fine too. Whatever resonates with you, whatever you're feeling like. Again, there's no right or wrong way. You just go with whatever feels good for you. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. Now, another question is, when do you call upon your angels? I get that a lot too. Like, how often do you reach out to them? It's really just whenever you feel called to. Again, there's no right or wrong time or way. I personally usually call upon both. When I am trying to connect, I usually say that, and I'm going to read that statement again that I read from the last episode on spirit guides about how to connect with your guides. And so this one's, kind of similar. It's a little different, but this one I usually say is, I ask to connect right now with my most sacred and most divine spirit guides and angels. You can add in of the highest light or the highest vibration if you would like. I ask that any guidance or information that comes through from my guides and angels serves my greatest and highest good or better. So again, it's really important to specify that you want the highest level of spiritual beings to work with when you're trying to get guidance and live your their best life possible. So again, I have shared a lot of information. I mentioned before, there's so much information out there, but again, this is really just what my guides communicated to me. This is a blend of information I have learned that has resonated with me and the information that I requested from my guides. So, this is how this is seen to me. This is how angels are seen to me. But it could be different for you, and it could be different for other people. So I just wanted to make that statement because there's so much information. And in the spirit, again, of this podcast, I'm trying to simplify and really just break it down and make it easy because it doesn't have to be difficult. And it's interesting though, when I was first starting my spiritual journey and I was taking courses and learning everything I could, being the good student that I am, slightly type A, Capricorn rising. it it drove me nuts that there was no right or wrong answer. And I would be in a Reiki class, and there's different levels that you take, and I was in my first one, and this was like my introduction into healing and into my spiritual journey. And I was so nervous, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid I'm going to do it wrong. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I make a mistake? Am I doing it right? And my teacher is like, it's perfect. Let spirit take the wheel, so to speak, and guide you. And spirit is working through me. So I had to really learn in my spiritual journey, when I'm working with spirit, I have to just let it go, and just allow the information to come to me, allow myself to be open and kind of go with the flow and let spirit drive, because that's the best way that you're going to get information. So again, I say this because you might be thinking, oh, what if I say the wrong thing when trying to connect with angels, or I'm reading something different, but that doesn't seem. Just go with whatever works for you, whatever intuitively comes to you, whatever you feel called to. That's what you go with. Just go with the flow and let the inspiration flow. Um, so, again, I just wanted to mention that, and that's a great practice anyway. Once you start connecting with spirit and working with your guides and angels, once you just kind of let go of that control and that fear, you just open yourself up, the floodgates will open. You will just start receiving information. You'll start getting guidance. You're going to feel so good. You're going to feel like things are, just flowing. They're just easy. That's the best way I can describe it. When you connect with spirit, is it just makes your life easy. It gets you aligned in your path. And when you're on the right path and you're connected with your true self, and you're making those good decisions that are aligned with that path and your purpose, then everything just works out. It's easy. It's magic. It really is. It's manifesting. So again, follow, trust your feelings, trust whatever comes to you. That's so key. And that takes a little bit of practice, I will say. I still work on that too. I still have to work on letting go and just trusting myself, trusting my intuition, trusting the universe, trusting your angels, trusting your guides. So that's really going to change your world. So again, your spiritual connection is so personal. So I encourage you to give it a shot. Try to connect with your angels, and see how it goes. See what, how you feel. See what kind of information comes in, and practice. Try it several times. You can use different aids like this angel aura quartz. If you're attracted to crystals, they can help you with your connection. Amethyst is another great crystal that helps you connect spiritually. Selenite is another crystal that helps you connect. They're all pretty inexpensive. They're just wonderful, great crystals to have. So they can help you if you feel like you're struggling to connect. So, try it out. I would love to hear your experiences. I would love to share with our community, our tribe, how that went for you. It's so fun to learn because everybody has different experiences. Everybody receives information differently. They process it differently. You may see things, you may feel things. Everybody has a different experience. So I'd love to hear what your experience is, and if you have any tips too, and how you personally connect with your angels. Okay, so again, feel free to write any thoughts, comments. If you have any questions, you can go to the Spirituality Simplified YouTube channel, and you can make those comments in the comments section. You can always email me at Allie at soulhealingwithallie.com. And again, on my website, soulhealingwithallie.com, is the blog for this episode. So if you missed any information, this will all be out there for you. And again, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was really inspirational and informative and fun for you. I hope that you do take some time to connect with spirit. It's amazing. I'm getting the tingles right now. So I know spirit is with me as I'm talking to you and sharing this with you. So I hope you feel so much love and feel this love that I'm feeling right now. I just thank you so much for your love and support. It's incredible. I did want to make a real quick announcement. The very first episode of Spirituality Simplified was on spiritual awakenings. And as soon as I was done recording that episode, my guides tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You need to create an episode where you share and read other people's spiritual awakening stories," which I thought was amazing. I would love to hear other people's stories. It's so important to share with each other. It's so exciting. It's so inspirational. So I'm going to be doing a Spiritual Awakenings Part 2 episode. So I'd love to hear your stories. So if you could email me, again, it's Allie, ALI, at soulhealingwithallie.com. Email me your story. If you can keep it to 2 to 3 paragraphs, that would be great. I know that's really difficult. Like for me, it's like pages, but I'll talk about my story too. But, if you can just kind of keep it to 2 to 3 paragraphs, that would be great. And just share, how was your spiritual awakening? What was there a defining moment? Was there a defining, or influential person or event or place or something that really sparked that awakening? When was your awakening? How did it positively impact your life? And, how are you using that today? So those are just a couple examples of things to talk about, but I would love to hear your story. So please feel free to email me your story, and I will read it on that episode. You can remain anonymous, or I can say your first name, first and last, state you're from, business you work for, whatever you feel comfortable. And just be sure to indicate in the email what works best for you. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you so much again. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. And to remember to keep it spiritual, but keep it simple. See you next time.